What up, Bulls Nation? We've got a live CHGO Bulls coming up for y'all right around the corner. On today's show, Hoops Hype. More rankings. This time it's shooting guards. Where does Coby White land? Is it fair? Is it foul? Underrated? Overrated? Plus, Bleacher Report's Andy Bailey has a catch-all for all of the various advanced stats the league and its cohorts have come up with over the years. What did the 24-25 Bulls roster come out looking like in this catch-all advanced metric? We will talk about that next. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into the CHGO Bulls podcast. Coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. That's Will the Go Gottlieb. Bam. Perfectly coiffed, Will_Gottlieb. And Queen of the Controls, the one and only Katie Duffy. What up, Katie?
Hi.
Hope everybody had a great weekend out there in Bulls Nation. If you're hanging out with us on YouTube, thanks for being here. Hit that like button now so Katie doesn't bug you about it for the next hour. As I mentioned, we're going to talk about Hoops Hype shooting guard rankings today. We're going to talk about Andy Bailey's crazy catch-all advanced stat metric and how the Bulls came out looking in that regard. But first and foremost, Goat, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well.
Great to hear. Good weekend?
It was a good weekend. The planes were not – it was like – I feel like they didn't start – usually it's like 10:30 to 3, but I guess they didn't start until later, so it didn't feel like it was rattling my whole
you're talking about the air show.
The air show,
yeah. There was some serious rattling. Did you hear a couple of windows of some building along Lakeshore got blown out because they broke the sound barrier? Yay, planes.
But it was a good weekend. My cousin just got engaged, so we went to her engagement party. That was nice.
Congratulations.
Had a friend in town for the weekend, so it was a good time. Yeah.
Love is lovely.
How about you?
Great. Low-key weekend. Actually, shout out to Max, one of my new friends and / fan viewer of the show. I was hanging out with some buddies at our favorite local dive on Friday night, and he just came up to me there and was like, hey, watch the show, like the show, let's talk Bulls. And
nice.
Honestly, it's one of my favorite things about this job is when I get to talk to Bulls fans out in the wild, wherever I happen to be. And they're like, hey, watch the show, let's talk Bulls. And I'm like, yes, absolutely, 100%. So, Max, shout out to you if you're watching. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you on Friday. And then, obviously, the weekend was, beautifully capped on Sunday with just like a gorgeous Caleb Williams touchdown drive to start that Bears preseason game yesterday. I was very happy.
I'm not getting my hopes up about the Bears this time.
Fair.
I think
smart.
I've learned that lesson the hard way.
Dude, I'm trying so hard to not be a Greg Braggs meathead today.
For the last 33 years. However, I'll say this. At the very least, we'll always have that first drive in week 2 of the preseason against the Buffalo Bills.
So good.
We will always have that first drive.
It was so fun to watch. Maybe this is finally the year Bears fans get to watch a modern offense. Speaking of shout-outs, Josh Giddey, shout out, still unsigned. Oh. Not a lot of updates there.
I thought you were going to say something.
The Giddey watch continues.
Yeah.
Other shout out to Bulls legend Marco Bellinelli, who earlier today announced his official retirement from professional basketball. Just played the one season with the Bulls, 2012-2013. But what a memorable season it was. Bulls went to the conference semis that year, despite D. Rose being injured yet again. Had some iconic moments, a couple of game winners. Had a great game in that Game 7 against Brooklyn to get to the conference semis. Shout out Belly. Like, just sort of one of those like one-season players who I think is perceived by a lot of the fan base to be like a fan favorite.
Yeah, I think we talked about this. I can't remember if it was like on the show after we talked to Booze. If you haven't watched the Carlos Boozer interview, go find that. Katie will put it in the comments if we're lucky. I don't know if I mentioned it on the air or off the air to you, but like Thibodeau during that era just had a way with smaller guards being able to just like get theirs. And Bellinelli, not the like DJ Augustine, Nate Robinson, CJ Watson, John Lucas caliber of like sub 6 foot guard, but like, man, did he just thrive in that offense? Obviously, you know, the one celebration will go down in infamy, but he had an awesome run with the Bulls.
And I think that was in that Game 7 against Brooklyn when he did that.
Sure was.
Which is fantastic. Actually, yeah, shout out to our guy Trey Kirby, who we were chatting with one of our shows last week. That was his response when I asked everybody what their favorite Belly moment was. It's a good one.
Doesn't it feel like he was with the Bulls for longer than one season?
It does. And it's like, I think in the same way that it feels like Nate Robinson was a Bull longer than he was.
Yeah.
Because it was that same singular season, and it was 12-13.
Yeah, what a like
But it's like that season created so many memories for Bulls fans because they were like an underdog team that was scrappy as hell and good at times.
I'm trying to think of like what the modern day equivalent of the 2012-13 Bulls would have been. And like, I don't know.
I mean,
it's
like
that
last
team
year's
had
Pacers,
no business,
but if they had made their way all the way to the finals.
That team had no business winning 45 games.
They really
Like
didn't.
it was, I'm just looking at it now.
That's
This was like
Tibbs
Jimmy
and
Butler
role
breakout.
guys.
So he was good. Boozer was there. Taj was still there. Kirk was there. Rip Hamilton, Joakim, obviously. But it was like so much on Nate Robinson and Marco Bellinelli. Luol Deng was still there. So I guess they're maybe better than I was giving them credit
It was a
for,
solid
but
squad. It just was missing their MVP.
It was just missing their MVP.
Yeah. But shout out Marco. Congrats to him. I'll be quite honest. I didn't know he was still playing professionally overseas, but
I didn't either.
Hell of a career. And then one last shout out before we dive into our HoopsHype rankings. Shout out to the GOAT, who just yesterday dropped an exclusive interview with Chicago Bull Kevin Huerter, and it is available for you diehards to read. Go read it right now. We're not going to talk about it on today's show. We're going to save it for you diehards out there. But go if you just want to, offer a quick comment on, your opportunity to get to chat with Huerter, who he's out like coaching in the UK or was just coaching in the UK.
Yeah. So as you can see on the screen right now, Katie brilliantly put together a QR code for you to scan.
Look at that.
And you can go read it. If you're a diehard subscriber.
Sign up.
But basically, he is out in Manchester in the UK coaching with Basketball Without Borders. There's a handful of other like notable names there. Avika Zubats, Tyson Chandler is there, Sylvia Fowles.
Shout out Chandler.
So a handful of like former players and obviously the current guys. And he's coaching it. Sounds like he's having a really fun time. First time really coaching, but kind of talked with him a little bit about why he's wanted to do that for a while, what inspired him to do it, and what kind of planted the seeds for him. And then, of course, we talked about like the way last season ended, his reaction to like the Bulls losing to the Heat, the way that they were playing down the stretch, and why they have so much belief in themselves to be able to like get back to and exceed the level that they were playing heading into next season. So a lot of optimism from him there, but just cool to see him. He seemed like he was in really like good spirits and like excited about the opportunity to coach. So it was a fun interview. I encourage you all to go read it.
Awesome. Diehards, go give it a read. If you aren't a diehard yet, here's your latest reason to become a diehard. Go read GOAT's exclusive with Kevin Huerter. Okay, with that being said, all shout-outs accommodate. Nope, that's not the word I was looking for. Accounted
all shouts, for. Shout it out.
All shouts have been shouted. Katie, do you have any shout-outs that you need to shout? What's up, dude?
What's up, dude? Yeah, actually. So I was at dinner last night, and somebody walked by, and I didn't have a chance to catch them, but they were wearing a CHGO Bears t-shirt.
Was it Braggs?
No, it was not Braggs. Braggs was here working, but that was a cool experience. And normally I would have yelled at them, but I was in the middle of dinner, so I did not have a chance to do that.
Which CHGO Bears shirt was it?
I don't remember.
Don't remember?
No.
The meatball one?
No, it wasn't the meatball one. I would
So
remember
it definitely
that
wasn't
one.
Braggs.
I was wearing my DeFranchise shirt yesterday while I was watching Caleb orchestrate that gorgeous touchdown drive. Go check out the merch store, y'all.
Oh, one more shout out.
Shout out.
Tyson Bagent.
Tyson Bagent?
Yeah, he played well.
He slung some footballs yesterday.
He slung them.
Don't contribute to this silly, unnecessary.
No, of course not. Caleb is going to be great.
Caleb's great. Caleb's going to be great. Tyson Bagent, great
Tyson
QB2.
Bagent had some great plays last night. That's all I had to say on the matter.
There is no QB debate in this city. We're not going to have it. Doesn't exist. Just like the limit. Okay, here we go. Hoops Hype, bless their hearts, giving us that dog days late off-season content to talk about. I think it was last week, maybe a couple weeks ago. They put out their top 26, and again, silly, why 26? What a weird number. Point guards coming into the NBA season. Josh Giddey came in at number 15, in case you didn't recall. And we talked about that. Hoops Hype has now dropped their top 26 shooting guards coming in the 25-26 NBA season. Maybe it's top 26 because it's the 25-26 season. No? Unless they did it this way last year.
No, because they had 28 in the point guards.
No, they had 26.
Did they have 26? I thought it was 28.
It was the same thing, 26.
I think you're wrong.
I just checked today because I couldn't remember where Josh was.
Okay, you must be right. I don't know. That's stupid either way.
Either way, it's stupid. But thank you, Hoops Hype, for the content. So, we can start by going through this top 10 here, and then just outside the top 10 is where we will find one Alec Coby White. So Anthony Edwards gets the number one spot. Go. Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Williams ahead of Jaylen Brown, and then Devin Booker rounding out the top 5. Any dissension in that top 5 from you?
I think the one where people might point to is Devin Booker, but he kind of had a down year, so I don't hate it. I do think that he will have a big statistical season. If you're into fantasy basketball, he's going to get you a lot of assists this year because he's going to be playing a lot of point guard. Jaylen Brown, I think
Beal has gone. Durant has departed. That team is becoming a lot more Devin Booker's team than it was in previous years.
Tyus Jones is gone. They bring in Jalen Green, and that seems like it's going to be the backcourt. I think similar situation to Jaylen Brown. Sounds like they're going to be starting Peyton Pritchard, but no Tatum, no Drew Holiday, no Porzingis, no Al Horford. He's going to have all the shots that he can get and then some. And so I expect him to probably take a little bit of a dip in terms of efficiency, but it'll be interesting to kind of measure if he can really be the A1 guy. And so I'm curious to see that experiment with him. Jalen Williams, I've always been a huge fan of. I think he's
a bit overvalued in these rankings.
I was going to say maybe undervalued.
Really?
He's the best
deserving
defender.
To be ahead of Donovan Mitchell or Anthony Edwards?
Probably not and Donovan is just so good. I'm not trying to say he's not, but this dude just was the second best player and scored 40 points in a finals game. Is an elite defensive player, incredibly efficient, and just proved that he can be a go-to option on a team that won the NBA championship. So maybe that's the boost that he's gotten there, but I'm just super high on him, always have been. And it's just cool to see his career kind of even exceed where I thought he was. I remember doing the draft scouting on him, and I was like, man, this guy's going to be awesome. He's going to be a late riser and probably get into the mid lottery or late lottery or maybe even be around where the Bulls were at 18 that year. And he went 12, and he's just been outstanding from day one. And so awesome trajectory for him, but also I still think there's more there. I like that there were so many people that were saying Presti should just throw a bunch of picks at another star player. They've got unlimited picks. You may as well just go all in to win a championship. And Presti was really conservative with that and instead said, I believe in Jalen Williams to be the second best player. Obviously we've got Shea. He's our number one guy. And not only did he succeed with that, but now you still have all these picks. You win the championship and you can continue to backfill your roster with these cheap rotation guys. While you're now paying Jalen Williams and Shea and Chet all max money. So I think Jalen Williams is deserving of a top 3 spot just through his two-way play alone.
I think that's fair. I think that's a really strong argument you just made. Some might say, well, yeah, he was the second best player on a team that just won the chip. What about Jaylen Brown? Jaylen Brown won the finals MVP only 2 years ago. And, of course, a lot of people were wondering what Jaylen Brown will be capable of coming into a season without, the Batman to his Robin, a.k.a. Jason Tatum, who we know is going to miss this upcoming season for the Celtics. And are the Celtics essentially just going to take a gap year? Are they still going to try to be competitive with Jaylen Brown running things with not only an injured Tatum, but the departure of Kristaps Porzingis, the likely upcoming departure of Al Horford, who still wants to go sign over in Golden State. So Jaylen Brown's got a lot on his shoulders coming into this season. I think right now, though, it's fair to have Jalen Williams leapfrogging him in these rankings. And, I'm also very curious to see what Devin Booker looks like this year with the Suns team that people aren't expecting to do much of anything. They had their own tier in those other rankings we were talking about. What are they all in on last week? And they are all in on their team a year ago and how badly it blew up. But Devin Booker is still Devin Booker, man. Like, special talent, but he no longer has the, goats breaking mics. What a perfect opportunity to knock out some ads. We will share some words from our friends and sponsors. Y'all will hit the like button. We'll come back. We'll keep talking about these HoopsHype shooting guard rankings, making our way to Coby White. Ads. Today's show is brought to you by Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. A place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to help elevate your summer. They've got a one-stop shop for all of your cannabis needs, featuring their expertly curated menu, new strains added every single day, to round out their list of over 100 different strains to choose from. That's right, I said 100. Plus, they offer easy online ordering and in-store pickup. They've got brands they know you'll love, like Cresco and FloraCal, so go check them out in-store or online. Visit Sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including getting 50% off your first 3 online purchases when you use promo code HICHGO at checkout. And for returning customers, use promo code CHGO50 to get 50% off one Cresco Labs brand item. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day. Only for 21 and older and Illinois Med card holders.
Did you know that Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier than ever? Did you know that you can save up to 60% on buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more? Did you know that they have killer last-minute deals, views from your seats, and the lowest price guarantee? And did you know they had zone deals where you can choose the section and you can let Game Time do the selecting and choose your seat for you? You can know your total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. You can get a panoramic view from your seat in-app before you buy, and you have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Katie. What time is it?
Game time who?
We roll along CHGO Bulls on Monday afternoon. Peck, Goat, Katie. The dramatic pause before, what time is it?
He didn't even ask me a question. He just yelled at me.
It was just getting your attention.
I was getting your attention because you were working on something else diligently, and I knew your mic
Right,
wasn't.
like
you
doing
had
my
to press
job,
the button
yeah.
to turn on the mic, and you weren't ready. So I just wanted to give you a second.
Flawless.
Just trying to be a team player.
So that's going to be my favorite thing that happened today.
Get him!
Get it!
What time is it?
What time is it? All right. We are moving through the HoopsHype shooting guard rankings. There was the top 5. Moving on to the back half of the top 10, we got Tyler Hero at 6. I'm just going to say gross on that, although he did just make his first All-Star selection this past season. And, yes, his Heat did beat the Bulls yet again in the play-in tournament.
Did he score 40 in a play-in game?
He may have. I don't know. I forget. Amen Thompson, Josh Hart, Austin Reeves, and our old pal Zach LaVine, rounding out the top 10 GOAT.
I mean, what are we looking at here?
What are we doing?
Okay. This is projecting for next season, yeah?
Yes.
I mean, Amen Thompson's got to be higher.
You think so?
I would put him at the very worst.
So, over Tyler Hero, but are you putting him ahead of Jaylen Brown or Devin Booker?
Yeah, at the very worst, I would put him at 6. I mean, I mentioned Jalen Williams being a two-way player. Amen Thompson, is he even I don't even know what position he is.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to put him into any of those categories, but I'm extremely high on what he is going to become. And he showed, like, after he sort of got inserted into the starting lineup last year and into the playoffs, that this dude is one of the premier defenders in the league, and also just can get to the basket at will, explosive athleticism. He's just going to be a lot of fun to watch. And then you get into some weird names. Like Josh Hart, I would not call a guard. I would call him a power forward. Not that it matters too much to me, because positionally, like, that's not really...
I kind of agree. Not in like the same exact way as far as the type of players they are, but it's like back when DeMar was putting up all-star numbers in a Bulls jersey and he was getting categorized as a guard. And you're like, that DeMar DeRozan's not a guard.
But it's like they had Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Josh Hart starting. Josh Hart was starting at the 4. Like,
right.
He's a 4. His best skill is rebounding, and like he's good. I mean, he had an incredible season I don't imagine he's going to play anywhere close to 38 minutes a game, which is what he did last year. Now that Tibbs is out of town, but I wouldn't put him in that same category. I think Austin Reeves should be higher. He was really good last year. He really took a step forward after Luka, and really like prior to that too. But it was 25-5 on really good efficiency. I don't think he's like A1 option, but he's like a very solid number 2 there. And I think he's going to be a good fit next to Luka long term. And then Zach, like, I get it. Zach is not everyone's cup of tea. I was doing these stats a bunch before he got traded, but like he finished the year shooting over 51% from the field.
Pretty darn good.
There just aren't guys that score as much as he does as efficiently. And like, that's what shooting guard is supposed to do. Like I've always thought he's underrated and underappreciated for the stuff that he does well. I get that he has flaws in his game, but the efficiency, the athleticism, the shooting, the scoring, he's just, that's too low for me. And then what was the last one? Can you throw the list back up? Sorry.
Zach, Austin Reeves, Hart.
Oh, Desmond Bane.
Yeah, and then at number 11 is Desmond Bane.
Yeah, man. I guess there's just a lot of good shooting guards, but I feel like if you take Josh Hart out of there because he's playing the wrong position, and move a men up, I would say like Hero, Reeves, Levine, Bane are all kind of like in the same zip code, and you could probably order them however you want. But yeah, some of these guys are just such different like archetypes that it's hard to really quantify.
Sky Falcon 5 in the chat saying some of these guys are forwards, kind of like you were pointing out with Hart specifically. And Frank Urbina, who spearheaded this project for HoopsHype, these rankings by position, did make note of the fact that Hart is one of the most unique players in the game today, as he, quote, plays almost like a floor spacing power forward at the 2-guard spot, kind of right in line with what you were saying. Also, pretty interesting stat that he threw in here. The first player no taller than 6'4", Josh Hart, to average at least 9.5 rebounds in a season since Russell Westbrook did it in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, he played outstanding basketball. Huge part of what they were doing last year, the Knicks. But yeah, I like, he's to me a role player that gives you just a completely different skill set, and it's not like a criticism of him. I think he's a really good role player.
Yeah,
but it's just a completely different skill set than like what Hero or Bane or Levine or Coby are giving you, which is like scoring, shooting, floor spacing, movement, warping the defense. Like, that's just not his game at all. And I just put him in like the wing or forward category.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Guapo Dinero in the chat, handsome money. Okay, said Josh Hart's not better than Coby White. I mean, again, players that have different skill sets and do different things for their team. Coby White for the Bulls this past season, first time as a 20 points per game scorer, 20.4, 3.7 boards, 4.5 assists, shot just over 45% from the field. Josh Hart, not the scorer that Coby White is, but I mean, I mentioned his rebounds, 9.6 boards per game, 6 dimes per game, 1.5 steals per game, 13.5 points. And he shot 52.5% from the field. Like, that is a very useful player. And, of course, you know, not just the 1.5 steals per game, but overall a very strong two-way player. The reason that Tibbs loves him, the reason that Tibbs wanted him, the reason that he plays 48 minutes any night that Tibbs asks him to play 48 minutes a night. Coby White is not that player. Not right now.
Yeah, but again, it's like because they offer you a completely different skill set. Like, I think after we're done, and these are going to probably come out like every week, and we'll talk about them. I think after we're done, we should rank them by archetype and do like point of attack, or like not point of attack, but like offensive engine, or like point guard, wing player, and big. Like, those are kind of the 3 archetypes to me. And yeah, there's like different subcategories within each of those, but it's just so hard to rank a guy like Josh Hart compared to Coby White, because it's like team dependent. Does your team need scoring, or do they need like somebody who can grab and go? Like, and every team needs both of those things, but just none of these guys, when you're getting to this point in the rankings, are foundational, build around them, everything kind of revolves around them type of pieces.
Right.
And so, like, would Josh Hart be as good as he was on every other team, or was he just really good in the role that the Knicks specifically needed from him? Probably a little bit of both. Same for Coby. Like, if he's on a team with another one of these shooting guards, as we saw during his career when he was playing behind Zach LaVine. Like, he's not able to give you as much, whereas Hart finds a way to give you other stuff, doing some of the small things, rebounding in particular, defense, pushing the break. So it's just very like team and context dependent. And especially, like, I think in some ways shooting guard is sort of the easiest position to rank because it is pretty uniform in terms of what skill set you're being asked to do.
Yeah.
It's like off-ball scoring, movement, shooting, floor spacing, and then defense. And like, what degree of defender are you? Jalen Williams, Amen Thompson, elite defenders. But like everybody else is kind of just like somewhere between, mediocre to bad.
Right.
And like, how do you rank those? And how much is it taken away from how good you are on offense?
Speaking of elite YouTube username, Beef Dip, in the chat, saying, I bet Coby jumps up 3 or 4 spots after this upcoming season. It's possible. Nick P, meanwhile, saying 25-5 on paper is what shooting guards should do. Coby is great, but not a unique archetype like a Josh Hart or even an Alex Caruso, who guards 2 through 4 regularly. Apples and oranges. And by the way, our old pal Caruso did also make an appearance on this list. I think somewhere up closer to 20. I think maybe 21 is where Caruso landed. Yeah, 21. But so again, a lot of different archetypes that they are kind of shoehorning into this shooting guard position for the sake of these rankings. 25-5 being asked of your starting shooting guard is, again, I think it depends on not just the archetype of the player that you're talking about, but his role on the team. How big is his role? Is he the guy? Is he your number one option down the court every time? Or is he your second option down the court every time? With Coby White, I think coming into this season, most Bulls fans would make the argument that he's either 1A or 1B alongside Josh Giddey. And 25-5, I think, is like, okay, cool. If your starting shooting guard is only your second or third option, you'd be thrilled with 25-5. If your starting shooting guard is your team's number one offensive option, 25-5 is sort of pedestrian.
Yeah, and it depends on how many possessions your team is getting. It depends on how fast you play. It depends on what you have at the other position. So much of this is just context dependent, team build dependent. And I will say this, like, it's interesting to kind of consider not only the shooting guard rankings, but the shooting guard position relative to some of these other positions where you are asking them to be a little bit more of two-way players. If you're a 3, you are asking them to be obviously more shot creation and facilitation at the 1. And so is this shooting guard position as valuable as maybe it used to be, or just relative to some of these other positions? And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of these guys get traded for not so much. I know Bane went for four first-round picks.
Whew, boy, did he.
And he was ranked 11. I think there's an argument for him to be much higher, but I do think that, like, after a certain point, like, kind of similar to centers, where it's like, if you are a dribble pass shoot center, but you're not Embiid or Jokic or Karl Towns, then it's hard to justify playing you because defensively you're probably not where you need to be. And so then at that point, it probably makes sense to instead pivot to a premier rim protector, even though he's not giving you the same type of offensive punch. And so I think the same is true for 2 guards, where it's like, yeah, ideally you want 25-5, you want some creation, you want some floor spacing, you want some off ball, you want somebody that can play on or off the ball and run some offense when your lead creator is off the court. But, if you are just a shooter, then that's gonna hit your value a little bit. And that's what we liked out of Coby last year, was that he showed not only that he was a much more efficient shooter and scorer, particularly scoring, like getting to the rim, the 2-point shooting was all at some of the best numbers of his career, but the facilitation, the pressure that he put on teams going to the basket, putting pressure on the rim, and creating out of that. I think that's what got him to even be number 12 on this list.
With that, let's knock out a couple more ads. We'll come back and dive back into this conversation about Coby White, HoopsHype, the shooting guard rankings. Take a look at some of the notes that they had on Coby White specifically, and what they could mean for Coby and the Bulls this upcoming season. Hit the like button for Katie.
The like
Katie
button.
needs the thumbs. She's halfway to Troll Joe level of needing y'all's thumbs. All right? Just do it. Ads. Today's show brought to you by Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric, who have been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Now is the time to get your AC checked out, and Four Seasons experts are ready to help you with AC installation, maintenance, and repair. Four Seasons expert technicians ensure you always receive reliable service, and Four Seasons doesn't charge you more for service during nights or weekends, even holidays. Save up to $4,000 on new comfort systems with Four Seasons. New AC units from just $39 a month. AC furnace combos just $57 a month. Plumbing, electrical, heating, or cooling emergency? Need a new hot water tank or generator? Call Four Seasons with same-day installation, no extra charge for nights, weekends, or holidays. They're your trusted local experts. Four Seasons Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com. Because for all the right reasons, call 866-4-SEASONS.
Get it. And you know, Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake is slashing prices on new cars,
right,
and giving you big savings all month long. You can come in today and shop the new car clearance event. Check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. With Chicagoland's largest inventory of Chevys, you are sure to find the perfect vehicle for you. As one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in all of the Midwest, they're able to keep their prices competitive, so you know you're going to get a great deal. Plus, Ray's Price Promise lets you shop confidently because the price you see is the price you pay. Visit our partner at their convenient location on Route 12 in Fox Lake, and don't miss out their new car clearance event going on all month long. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
Mm-hmm. Rolling along CHGO Bulls on Monday afternoon. Peck, Goat, Queen of the Controls, Katie, hanging out with us. Esteban in the chat just said, I miss Troll Joey. Well, there he is. There he is in all of his glory.
I was forced to take drastic measures.
He needs the thumbs. Is that your Troll Joe impression?
Yep. Not very good, but that's what I got for you.
Okay. We're talking HoopsHype shooting guard rankings. Interesting blurb that they included for Coby White, who, again, they ranked 12th overall in this list, mentioning that after spending the majority of his time in the NBA running point, which is debatable across his first several seasons, I think he's played a good amount on ball and off ball. According to Basketball Reference, Coby spent 58% of his time on the floor last season playing two. Interestingly enough, White even spent 11% of his minutes at small forward, according to Basketball Reference. And again, that checks out when you think about all the guards that the Bulls had. The results weren't bad, as Coby averaged a career high in points per game, using his speed on the open floor and deep shooting range to be productive, leading Chicago's offense. On the other hand, Chicago was 4.1 points per 100 possessions. Jeez, Matt. 4.1 points per 100 possessions worse with Coby White on the floor last year. Went 39-43, yada, 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 play in tournament, yada, yada. Either way, White has developed into a productive scorer who can get hot at a moment's notice, so there's no question he's one of the better guards in the NBA today. Solid and I think worthy praise for Coby White, who we do know can be a streaky shooter. Again, shot 45.3% from the field last season. So, good, not great. Capable of getting hot, capable of taking over a game because he gets hot. And then, of course, that range that they also mentioned. We saw Coby pull up confidently from basically anywhere past the half-court line multiple times throughout last season. He's turning into one of those floor-spacing threats. Not just a regular floor spacer, but oh, my God, he just pulled from there floor spacer, which is a valuable weapon for any NBA team to have. But the 4.1 points per 100 possessions, Goat, that is the thing that raised my eyebrow the most when reading through this and their thoughts on Coby White. I don't know if I knew that and had forgotten it or put it out of mind, but that is not great when you're talking about somebody who's coming into this season as your 1A or your 1B.
Yeah, I wonder, I'm trying to see if I can filter it by segment of the season, because I would imagine that number was worse during the first half.
Have to assume that number is stronger post All-Star break.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they won a bunch of their last 30 games. I think they went 17-13, right?
I believe that's correct.
30 games.
Yep.
And Coby was the main guy out there. So
He was the player of the month for the Eastern Conference in March.
Yeah. To me, it's like, I think Coby. So, okay, last year he really broke out, right? That was like his best season. Obviously, you could debate that this season became better, but up until that point, that was his best year. He took a huge step forward in year 5 or 6. I think it was 6.
5.
And that like showed that there was a different level of player in there, and that was without Zach LaVine. He had to step into a bigger role alongside DeMar DeRozan. And then you bring in Josh Giddey, you trade DeRozan, you trade Caruso, and again, his role shifts, but Zach is still there. So he's reintroduced into the lineup. And they're starting all 3 of those guys, but it just like, how do you readjust to that when there's another player who does a lot of the same things that you do? And then you bring in another player in Giddey who needs the ball in his hands quite a bit. And so another big adjustment for Coby. And then obviously after the Zach trade, he really comes into his own and not only takes a step forward from where he was the previous season, but beyond that, not just matching his production from the previous year, which he had not done in the first part of the season, but exceeding it and taking it to another level, or he's averaging 30 a night for basically a month straight. And so for me, like, it's great to see that that's in there for Coby. Like, I think that was really encouraging for me watching this team and like wondering what they're doing long-term in terms of finding franchise caliber player in terms of generating good offense for your team. And to see Coby step into a role where not only was he doing it, but he was doing it and it was leading to wins. That was a huge step forward. And it felt like maybe there is more in his game. I think it's a hard thing to do when you're in year 6, year 7 to take a huge step forward, but like maybe he's the exception to that rule. And so for me this year, I just want to see the consistency with that. We've talked so much about he gets hot, he gets cold. He's shown he has, elite scoring in flashes, but can he do it consistently? It's like, that's what it's about now. It's about like, okay, you've shown you've got it in there. This needs to be who you are now. And like, you can't go through a month-long shooting slump. You can't go through, a series where you're scoring 15 a game. Like, he has to be at 20, 25, maybe up to 30 points a game for extended runs this year and for the majority of the year. He doesn't have to average 30 a night, but it's like, you probably have to average 25 if you're going to be the number one scorer in your role. As we talked about, like, those scoring guards are like becoming, I think, less valuable around the league just with the way that they're moving around and what teams are paying to get them.
Yeah.
You've just got to be so good in order to be a player of that archetype who's playing big minutes and making a lot of money. And I think that's what probably Coby wants. I think that 30 million thing is maybe a little overblown, but like, that's the kind of guy that Coby needs to be for this Bulls team to be good. And it's got to happen for the full year. Yeah.
He needs to be the Eastern Conference Player of the Month stats version of himself over a full 82-game season for me as a Bulls fan to feel good about him being the best player on this team. Our guy Fish in the chat said, I like who Coby is, but he is who he is. He's a good second banana. Shout out bananas. Great source of potassium. Also, shout out to the way the Fish phrased that, because it reminded me of Popeye. Coby is who he is, and I am what I am. You mentioned the Coby breakout and this big step forward, and you mentioned, year 5 or year 6. I said year 5. I thought that's initially what you're talking about. Last year was year 6 for Coby.
Yeah.
2 years ago, a.k.a. the 23-24 season, is when Coby finished a very close second for the league's Most Improved Player award, when he took his scoring the year before that from 9.7 to 19.1 per game on pretty equivalent efficiency, both overall and behind the arc. So he went from 19.1 points per game 2 seasons ago to 20.4 this past season. Yes, first season, becoming a 20 points per game scorer, great. As a team's number one option, unless your team is like the most gorgeously offensively balanced team in the history of NBA basketball, that's not good enough. And I'm not trying to knock Coby here. We're just kind of talking about where he came in these rankings and how good of a player he is now and how good of a player he could be. And, shout out to our guy Big Dave, wherever he is, parentheses, promise he'll be back soon. He always says, like, I'm never going to question what Coby White can do ever again, because he keeps showing us that he can do more and he can do more and he can do more. And I agree with that to a certain level. But if you're going to try and tell me that Coby White whole body of work last season was like a much better version of himself than the season before that, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to call BS a little bit.
Well, I think, like, for me, I'm not criticizing Coby at all. Like, I think he was awesome last year, and that's kind of my point is, like, he went from, like, normal good Coby, normal great Coby to, like, elite unreal Coby. And, like, I mean, you look at his month-to-month splits. In October, 19 points, 4.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists. November, 18 points, 3.5, 4.5. 17, 3.5, 5. 19.5, 3, 4.5. 17 points, 17.5 points in February, 3 rebounds, 4.5 assists. In March, 27.7 points, 4.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. So he jumped 10 points per game up from the previous month. And we've seen like Febby Lowry before. We've seen Nikola Mirotic go off in the month of March. Like we've seen Josh Giddey do it now too. It's like, this can't be I'm not saying it can't be or that it is. I'm just saying like, I want to see this for the whole season. I just want to see Coby play at that level for a whole season because I think he's shown that he's got it in there. He just needs to do it for the whole year.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. It's not criticism or anything else.
The whole body of work.
That's who he's got to be now.
This for the whole, and credit to Coby for availability. For the last 3 seasons, he's played 74, 79, and 74. Like there's only one season of his career where he played fewer than 65, and he played 61. Like he's out there, he's available, he's just inconsistent. And some of that I will give Coby a pass on because his role and what he's been asked to do on this team has changed drastically, whether it be night to night or week to week or month to month through any given season in many different iterations of the Bulls. Because like along with Zach LaVine, who's now gone, Coby was one of the last, remaining pieces from the old Garpax regime.
He is the last one.
Now he is the last remaining part of that previous regime. And he's worn a lot of different hats, so to speak. Now I think coming into this season, Zach has moved on, DeMar has moved on. He's, theoretically going to be paired with Josh Giddey as like the 2 front men of this team, offensively speaking. This is the year, especially with Coby playing on an expiring contract. Like this is the freaking year for Coby White to prove that he can not only be a 20 points per game scorer, but he can be much more than that, because a player much more than that is a player that the Bulls would probably enthusiastically pay $30 million a year to.
Exactly. And again, I feel like I'm coming off like critical. I don't mean to be at all. Like I think what Coby did last year, even aside from that, was for the most part really good. I'm just saying like, I believe in the step that Coby took the year before last.
Yeah.
I believe in that being like the new baseline. If he wants to take the next step beyond that to like all-star level, which is what if you average 27.5 points per game, and your team is winning games, like you are an all-star. Yep. So if he wants to be that guy, he just needs to do it for the whole year. I think he can. I think that new opportunity that he had, the confidence that he was playing with, like he's probably not going to shoot quite as hot. He was 49, 38, 87 during that month. 63 true shooting. Like it would be incredible if he could do that. I'm not expecting to be quite that high, but like I do think he can take a big step forward from where his season stats were.
Right.
And maybe not quite to that level of 27, 27.7, 4.7, and 3.7, but like 25 points per game, I think is in the realm of possibility and probably what he should be striving for personally. And I think that's possible. I'm just curious to see if he can do it consistently for a whole year.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Before we move on to our last topic for the day, just to kind of round out some of the other names that made this list but came in behind Coby White, Dyson Daniels, reigning most improved player, right?
Yep, and second in DPOY.
Yeah, second in DPOY, made first team all defense. He came in at 13. Jalen Green at 14, CJ McCollum, the wily vet, at 15. Anthony Simon, 16. Shaden Sharp, 17. Christian Brown, 18. Aaron Wiggins, 19. Ty Jerome, Big Dave's guy, at 20. Then As I mentioned before, Caruso came in at 21. Bradley Beal, the aging vet, 22. Buddy Hield, 23. Malik Monk, 24. Quentin Grimes, 25. Jordan Poole, 26.
I think that's a good way to think about it, actually, is like you hear Anthony Simons, Jalen Green, Shaedon Sharp's probably not like evolved enough yet individually as a player to be in that category. But like, you know, at this point in his career, Bradley Beal, Malik Monk, Jordan Poole, those caliber of players, like I do think Coby has ascended past them and is in a separate category. I don't know if he's going to be full-time in the like, you know, Levine Hero category, Austin Reeves category, or if he's still a notch below that. But I think that's kind of where he exists right now. And I think that next step is totally feasible for him. And probably for the Bulls, like they need him to get to that level.
Yeah.
But I think he's got a little bit more work to do to prove that he belongs there full time.
I think so too. And that can lead us into our last topic for the day, because to me, I think these two things are very correlated when we're talking about how good Coby White can be, how much better he can be from any version of him we've seen up to this point, to how good can the Bulls be moving forward. So this came courtesy of Andy Bailey, who writes about the NBA for Bleacher Report. He created something that he refers to as a shorthand to kind of catch in a funnel all of the different versions of advanced stats for the NBA from a bunch of different outlets. These include box plus minus and wins over replacement player from Basketball Reference. Also from Basketball Reference, game score per 100 possessions and total game score. From dunks and threes, estimated plus minus and estimated wins. And from Basketball Index, LeBron and LeBron WAR. All of these being funneled together have been apparently coined by ESPN's Tim McMahon as the HNI stat, or Huge Nerd Index. And essentially, it is Andy Bailey averaging every qualified player by the average of their ranks in each of these different kinds of stats from these different outlets, plus cumulative variance. The results give credit to each of the metrics, throw a bone to basic numbers through the use of game score, and reward players for availability through the addition of the cumulative marks. This is basically a catch-all for advanced stats, Go.
Basically, it's like it's just taking all the advanced stats and like averaging them out. And
right.
I think there's some problems with doing it this way, because a lot of these stats like look at the same numbers or like compensate for the shortcomings of a different stat by incorporating some other qualifier. And so a lot of these like theoretically should cancel each other out in some ways. So I'm not going to sit here and say like this is like the accurate depiction of how good a player is based on their HNI. But I do think that it's interesting to kind of look at it this way and see maybe how the Bulls rank, because when we talk about this Bulls team and when we are in the weeds of it, the way that we are on a daily basis, watching them every game and hyper focusing on their players as opposed to the rest of the league, it's easy to watch the month that Coby puts together and say, this dude's going to be an all-star. But I also think it's really important to look at some of this stuff and compare it to the other players' stats in the league, because you just simply can't watch everybody as carefully. And so I think sometimes you get clouded by a good month or a bad month by a player on your team, and that can maybe come out in the way that you compare them to other players. So this is, I think, an interesting exercise, even if it's imperfect, to look at how the Bulls compare and like how much talent they actually have. If you're talking about building a team, you want to have, you know, at least 2 stars and good depth. Like, do the Bulls have that?
So let's take a look, Kate, if you want to put up where the Bulls finished. And again, this is the Bulls 24-25 roster and how they finished in 24-25 with his HNI stat. Vooch finished with the best rating, came in 36th overall, and this was out of 375 NBA players who qualified, met the criteria to qualify for this stat last season. Vooch is your number one. And again, reminder that cumulative stats is a part of this, and perhaps Vooch's greatest ability is his availability. So that could be part of the reason why he scores so high. Josh Giddey came in at 52. Jalen Smith, Coby White, Trey Jones, Zach Collins, Lonzo Ball, Huerter, THT, Io, Modest, Julian, Patrick, and Dalen. Shout out to Patrick for not finishing last among his teammates in this particular stat ranking. But, I mean, to me, there's two things about this as a Bulls fan that are not necessarily surprising, but still disconcerting. You mentioned having, ideally, a couple of stars, Goat. The Bulls have nobody on their roster last season who finished in the top 30 of this particular stat. They also, if you think about averaging out 375, top half of the league, bottom half of the league, 187.5. Who's above that number? Who's below that number? How many players the Bulls have below that number? Below as in the good way, closer to 1. It makes you question yet again the whole AK 9-10 philosophy. And again, like you said, this stat is not be-all, end-all. It is a creative way to try and bring in a bunch of different basketball outlets' advanced stats into one. But they don't have a top 30 player, according to this metric, and I would agree with that. And they also have more bottom half of the league players than top half of the league players, according to this metric. And I, a Bulls fan, would agree with that too.
Yeah, and I'm trying to look up where Isaac Okoro ends up because obviously he's going to be on the team next year and
replacing Lonzo Ball.
Lonzo Ball will not, but yeah, I mean, I think like if you want to break it down into like what you need, what is the formula for a team that can compete at the highest level? And I'm looking up the Pacers here too because like, yeah, okay, I just pulled up the Pacers. They have Halliburton as number 5. Siakam, number 30. And that's exactly what I was going to say. You probably need a top 10 to 15 player and a top 30 player on your team. Miles Turner was 75, McConnell 111, Obi Toppin 124, Aaron Nesmith 174. Like, to me, that doesn't even look like a team on paper that would get you there. Nembhard is somehow 199. I feel like he's much better than that.
Yeah.
But my feeling is like you probably need a top 10 to 15 player. You probably need at least 2 that are in the top 30. So the top 10 or 15 guy plus another. And then I would say you probably need like 3 other top 100 players in some capacity to have like a legit starting 5. And then probably like 2 or 3 more that are in the top 150. So you can have like legit depth, and the Bulls just don't have that. And I think it's easy to say, well, they played better after the All-Star break. Once Zach was gone, like the players became the version of themselves that they're going to be moving forward. And like, okay, if you want to believe that, all the power to you. Part of it is like doing it over the course of a year. And like oftentimes when you do analyze a player's like second half stats, like what's really informative is not the portion of the season, but the season on the whole.
Right.
Because like it is a long season. You do go through slumps. You do go through hot stretches. And that average ends up kind of reflecting who you are. And that's why like not putting too much emphasis on, a 10 game below 500 stretch and not putting too much on a 10 game above 500 stretch is probably important. And instead looking at the big picture of who you are. And so I think this year, I think this goes back to the Coby conversation. It goes to the Josh conversations that we've been having. Like this year, I think will tell us a lot about these players, and that's a point that Dave's been making. Like all this stuff is going to get answered soon.
Yep.
At the same point, I think there's still going to be a lot of variability with Coby, with Josh. Like I don't think that just because they played well to end last year means they're going to consistently be really good for 82 games now. I think there's going to be some ups and downs still, and it would not surprise me if at the end of the year we're still like not quite sure who some of these guys can be long term, which is what it is. That's like a fine thing to still be struggling with, but I think at the end of the day, what we'll find is that none of these players have become a top 5 guy and a top 30 guy and a top 75 guy and a top 100 guy. Yeah.
Well said. Nick in the chat saying, don't show this to AK. He'll offer Vooch another extension. Hey, man, Vooch's out there playing hard every night, putting up them numbers. And, shout out to Giddey for coming in second behind Vooch among all Bulls players last season. And I did go and check. I think Levine ended up somewhere in like the 80s splitting his season between the Bulls and the Kings.
Yeah, Levine, I just scrolled past it.
You know, I'm guessing the work that Josh Giddey does stuff in the box score probably lends itself to, you know, faring quite well in these.
And the availability. Like, that was a big piece, too.
There you go.
Again, I think, like, it's not like I think Giddey is a terrible player. I think there's a lot of really good things about him. It's just, like, where did he end up? What was his ranking?
Who, Zach?
Giddey.
Oh, Giddey, 52?
52. Like, if you... Like,
52.
Giddey was a very good player, but, like, if you want him to be your lead guy, you want him to be, like, closer to 5 than 52. And, like, I'm not saying he can't get up to 5 or that his best stretch wasn't closer to 5. I don't know the answer to that.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, independent of who the player is that you're talking about, if you are trying to put the ball in the hands of your best player for the course of a season so that you can run offense and be efficient and lead to wins, whoever that player is, whether it's Giddey or anybody else, like, they have to be a really good player.
Right. Fine Day in the chat saying, this list really shows that Billy might be a good coach. LOL. Holy moly, are we bad? Rob saying, breaking news, mediocre roster makes the play-in again. Yeah, and, you know, we were talking earlier in today's show about Tibbs and, you know, getting miraculous results out of some D-Rose shorthanded Bulls squads back in the day. Shout out again to Marco Bellinelli. But, like, maybe that's an area where Tibbs is strong and Billy gets what he can get out of roster and doesn't get a whole lot more. Some Bulls fans might make that argument. I would push back on that and say, look what Billy's managed to get out of teams that have, especially last season, departure of DeMar, the aging of Vooch, like the departure of Zach midseason. Decent results from a squad where you got no stars. You have no stars or no depth of actual NBA talent. So, you know, look, do I love the Billy Donovan extension? No, not at all. But, like, this is a very easy laid out way. You know, every stat has its flaws, but, like, how many top half of the league players do the Bulls have? How many top 15 players do they have? How many top 30 players do they have? I think this is an accurate depiction of that. And the answer is none, and not many. Working my way backwards. So that's that's why I, you know, bless your heart if you're coming into this season being like 45 to 50 wins. Here we go. I hope y'all are right. I really do. But when you look at the talent the Bulls have compared to the talent across other rosters in the league, it's hard to see it.
And hopefully Io can be better last year. He's at 265. Like,
yeah, that was surprising.
I would imagine. Well, he had a bad
rough
statistical year
and missed the back third of the season.
Did not shoot very well and missed a ton of games.
Yeah,
obviously with the shoulder injury that he tried to play through. Like, he's a warrior. I think he'll be back out there, and I expect him to continue to improving because that's what he does.
Yep.
So I'd expect him to take a big jump forward in those stats next year. I think Mata's same deal. Like, he was not very good the first 2/3 of the season, and then also in March got really hot. Like, is that going to be a real thing, or is that going to be a February situation?
February.
Not saying it is or isn't. I'm just saying, like, they got to show it consistently. That's like that's the thing with being an NBA basketball player is you have to play really well throughout the course of the season so that you can make the playoffs and go deeper into them. It's not like you get credit for one good month, and so all these guys are going to have to be more consistent. Patrick is going to need to show up in ways that he has not. Can they get something out of Dalen and Julian finally? We saw bits and pieces of that, but, like, not enough. The way Kevin Huerter played with the Bulls, I think his numbers would be a lot better. With the Kings, probably not. So maybe over the course of a full season, he gets better, and now you do have a team that has depth, but you still need somebody to step into that top 5, top 10 role, and you still need somebody to step into that top 30 role. Because I think those are really non-negotiables when it comes to building a championship caliber team.
Agreed. All right, we'll pause that conversation there. Shout out again, Andy Bailey, for the fun chat fodder. Check him out on Bleacher Report. The new, what does HNI stand for?
Huge Nerd Index.
Huge Nerd Index. Katie, quickly before we get out of here, the poll. What are the results? How do you answer the phone?
I don't really want to give the results because I'm really disappointed in the amount of likes, to be honest with you.
What did you think was the correct answer?
I will give the results, however. The winner and the correct answer was hello.
Okay.
Second place was silence. That's just
what?
crazy.
That's creepy.
Third place was sup, dude. And
Sup, dude.
fourth place, y'all are crazy, was just the word speak.
Speak?
Yep.
It's like people who answer the phone and say, go. It's like, no, thank you. But silence is worse. That's who the heck just answers their phone if it's ringing and doesn't say anything? That's serial killer behavior.
I just liked the stream. You should too.
That's right. There you go. That's easy.
That's all I have to say.
That's easier than picking the correct choice in the poll. Hit the like.
And one more time, scan that QR code and read Goat's article.
Hey, go check out Goat's exclusive one-on-one with Kevin Huerter. You can read it now, allchgo.com. Available to diehards only. Sign up to become a diehard if you haven't already. What are you waiting for? We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, with another fresh episode, 4 p.m. Central. Until then, hit the like button on your way out. Read the GOAT, allchgo.com. Follow him, Will_Gottlieb. He's perfectly coiffed. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. Shout out to the queen of the controls, Katie Duffy. And have a great evening. Talk to you tomorrow, Bulls Nation. See you right begin.
Bow.
Bow. Bow.
We all silly like the mayor.